Well, a very, very happy Thursday and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is November 20th of 2025. And on today's episode, we are getting you guys prepared heading into week 12 of the NFL season as we will take a look at the postseason if the playoffs will start today, who is in. Obviously, as we are kind of on the back end of this season, we want to discuss who is also out of that playoff picture and then who's still surviving in that hunt for a postseason opportunity. So, without, just kind of let's reflect back in because I know we talked about this last week and the conversation at hand was uh, coming. If you would have asked me at, 12 weeks ago, that this was how the postseason was started shaping up to be. I would argue that I wouldn't believe you. And in that case would be more of the I would have expected the Kansas City Chiefs to be running the AFC West a little bit more comfortably, and they're struggling to find first place, right? Baltimore Ravens. You're dealing with Lamar Jackson's confidence behind the rein this season, not holding out for Baltimore so far. They're starting to find their feet a little bit, but there's still a little ways to go, and they may have found a little bit of an opportunity with some banged up Steeler players here heading into the back end of the season. Um, you know, no, we knew we called out the Colts for having an impressive going to have with Daniel Jones. Uh, Denver Broncos, another one I think has surprised me, not so much so because they're talented or because their position. I knew the AFC, I knew AFC was going to be a little bit more interesting figure to watch. But when you look at this list, I'm not including the Jaguars currently having the seventh round in the AFC. The Broncos sitting in the first round, possibly with the bye, followed by the Patriots. These are all four new teams that I don't think, you know, maybe we predicted one of the four to hold down a division for it. And it wasn't so far of, well, are they capable? Are they that good? Or it wasn't, are they going to be a good team? It was, how much are they going to improve? Over on the NFC side, the Bears, who currently right now hold the NFC North division, is a bit surprising. 49ers, Seahawks looking to hang in there. So in the AFC right now, I want to break you down. The Denver Broncos and the Patriots sit at the first two seeds with 9-2 records. The Colts followed by 8-2 record. The Steelers with the 6-4. Bills 7-3. The Chargers 7-4. And then the Jaguars 6-4. And if the playoffs would end today or start today, that is your seeding. The Broncos, let's just start off with the Denver Broncos. Their remaining schedule is in Washington, in Las Vegas, home to the Packers, home to the Jaguars, on the road to the Chiefs, and then home against the Chargers. It's given. Bo Nix is not the Denver success runs around their defense. And then Bo Nix comes in and hopefully has themselves a good run. Makes them look like $1 million talent. They'll have some key important dates with the Chiefs and the Chargers at the end of the season. But they're ultimately just trying to stop Kansas City from winning their 10th straight division crown. I feel like they're one of the better teams, against Washington, against Las Vegas. You don't have any challenges coming your way other than maybe the Packers, the Jaguars, but you'll be at home for that. And I think they have one of the leverage. I think as a fan, I'm rooting for the Broncos to take over the AFC West. I mean, I was on that wagon early on in the season. Before the season started, I said the Chiefs all the way Okay, I said until you proved me wrong, I can't go against the Chiefs. Well, so far this year, they're proving me wrong. The Chargers made an impressive run in the first month, and I was convinced that the Chargers had a fair share of their opportunity in this, and they've kind of definitely mellowed out. So the Broncos been more of the consistent team here this year to take the AFC West. Joining the Broncos is the 9-2 New England Patriots. Look, Drake May is making an MVP caliber runs right now off of Mike Vrabel's lineup. I feel like they have a very easy slate for an AFC title, which, by the way, the Patriots have not had a division title since Tom Brady's final season back in 2019. They're in Cincinnati. They're going to be home for the Giants. 2 easy, simple wins. Then they take the Bills over in Baltimore, over in New York to face the Jets, and home to Miami. So at least 4 out of those 6 games, New England should easily walk away with. Indianapolis Colts come in with an 8-2 record as they hold on as they visit Kansas City, home to Houston, on the road to Jacksonville, on the road to Seattle, home to San Francisco, home to Jacksonville again, and the Texans. What makes this remaining schedule interesting for the Colts is that you have the Chiefs that are struggling. I believe it still would create momentum to go into Arrowhead Stadium and beat the Chiefs on their home turf. Jaguars, you have both them home and away still left to be played this season, as well as the Texans. You have 4 division games in the next 7 weeks. And that the Jaguars are going to almost be the defiant of the season. Yeah, the 49ers and the Seahawks are trying to battle it out in wildcard positions, if not divisions, in the NFC West. Daniel Jones was a rediscover and definitely been efficient early on this year. And have to do it again at this back end of the season where things aren't just as easy for them to slip on it. What would help is how Jacksonville handles their end of the season. Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-4. They have the Bears, the home to the Bills, in Baltimore, home to the Dolphins, in Detroit, in Cleveland, and then home to the Ravens. 3 home games, 4 road games, and I think the concerning question asked is how long can they hold this, especially with an Aaron Rodgers who seems to be hurt now. They don't have a lot going on for them, and it's going to probably come down to a Mike Tomlin versus Lamar Jackson to see who takes the division, plus throw in the Lions and Bills, a couple of challenging teams. And depending how Baltimore pulls away the remainder of the year, let's remind you that Baltimore has Cincinnati for 2 games. We may see a new AFC front for it here in the final days. Buffalo Bills are 7-3 as they are on the road to Houston and on the road to Pittsburgh. They'll be home to the Bengals, or whether they go back on the road for New England and Cleveland. And they'll be home the final 2 games against the Eagles and the Jets. Josh Allen is going to have to play Superman in the last couple months. I think the question is a little bit of a surprise. Is New England a little too far to reach? They're 2 games back. They'll see them one more time, but at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And it's probably going to come down to whoever pulls where the standings are at when they beat each other in a month and and who takes that game. The Los Angeles Chargers enter with a 7-4 record as the 6th spot in the AFC wildcard as they host the Raiders, Eagles, on the road to Kansas City, on the road to Dallas, home to Houston, and then on the road to Denver. like I said, everything started off very smoothly for the Chargers, but everything starts falling apart fairly quickly. Injuries do occur, and it puts Justin Herbert in an uncomfortable position behind a depleting offensive line. They may even find themselves as probably one of the teams that are right now in the hunt, but won't be in the hunt in the in the next month or 4 to 6 weeks. The Jacksonville Jaguars hold a 6-4 record with the final spot on the wild card heading into Week 12. Their remaining schedule as follows: in Arizona, in Tennessee, home to Indianapolis, home to the Jets, on the road to the Broncos, to the Colts, and to the Titans. 4 of the 6 games are against division rivals, which two of them may be very nail biting, as it could set the fate to who takes over the division. They're only 2 games back of the Colts, but I think there's a lot of people that were surprised how far that they are where they at today. In the hunt right now, you're looking at the Texans. Despite not having C.J. Stroud, you're relying on DeMarco Ryan. The Chiefs, usually a solid front, but struggling to finish this season. It's not a usual sight to see with Patrick Mahomes, and they may have to stick to a ground game in order to complete it. The Ravens don't seem to have much operating with Lamar Jackson, but their defense may get them over the hump in the AFC North. Let's move on to the NFC playoff picture. The Eagles enter in with the 8-2 record along with the Los Angeles Rams. They sit at seed 1 and 2. The Bears has slid right in after a loss from the Lions last week, and now they're 7-3, currently holding the NFC North division. The Buccaneers are 6-4. Then you have the Seahawks with a 7-3 record, followed by the Packers 6-3-1, and the 49ers with a 7-4. Let's move down team by team. The Eagles, who are 8-2, have the Cowboys here this week. They have the home to the Bears, on the road to the Chargers, home to the Raiders, on the road to the Commanders, on the road to the Bills, and then home to the Commanders to finish off their season. So 3 more divisional games. They look like they have a strong front up, through and through. Looks like they're trying, obviously a defending Super Bowl champs trying to get back to the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And I think they're still a favorite team to win the NFC. The Rams have definitely had to battle it, as they have been in competition with the 49ers and the Seahawks. Well, they'll see the Seahawks one more time, and then they'll also see the Cardinals twice. They are completed their run with the 49ers, and in between they have the Buccaneers, Panthers, Lions, Falcons, and Cardinals. Matthew Stafford is still slinging it with as much this all-in aspect that they've had years past, looking to shine again. This time, the real question is going to be whether Sean McVay's group can also outduel heavyweights teams, and the first set of teams are going to be the Bucs and the Lions. And look, you have a game coming up 3 weeks before the season ends against the Seahawks. It'll be on the road. If the Seahawks are still in that picture, they can even things out and to make that an interesting game also. So a lot of it rides on the next month and the outcome of a couple of these crucial games, and really just see how much the Rams could push through. The Bears are coming in with a surprise as they are 7-3. The number 3 seed is a bigger question arises in both conferences. The Bears, after all, has not necessarily been a clean operation with Caleb Williams at the controls, but the unit keeps winning under Ben Johnson. Now comes a slew of big tests in the upcoming weeks. as they're going to have to take on the Philly, the Eagles, Green Bay. Let's not forget the wrap up of the season against the Lions. The 49ers looking out for it as well. They'll have the Steelers and the Browns, but the Packers, they'll have to not meet them once, but twice. The Buccaneers are 6-4. They hold the AFC South as they have the Rams on the road, the Cardinals at home, the Saints at home, Falcons at home, the Panthers on the road, Dolphins at home, and the Panthers at home. You know, we talked about Baker Mayfield this season being put to the test, seeing exactly where he meshes with a lot of top teams. The Rams game this Sunday is going to be another test to the element. You almost figure that the Cardinals, Saints, and Falcons should be easy walk-bys. The Panthers are making it a challenging run. So it almost as if the Buccaneers have one of the more easier schedules here for the remainder of the season. And I'm going to say that, and I just looked at the Seahawks record, 7-3. In Tennessee, home to the Vikings, on the road to the Falcons, home to the Colts, home to the Rams, on the road to the Panthers, and to the 49ers. I think what really hurts them is them falling to the Rams early on. And we'll see if that ends up biting them back in the ass. Titans, Vikings, Falcons should be almost easy wins. Maybe against the Panthers. But that circle date on their calendar, if they hold out, would be the Rams in 5 weeks. The Green Bay Packers are 6-3-1, and it looks like a lopsided record, but they find themselves in it because of that tie against the Cowboys. They host the Vikings coming up next. On the road to the Lions, host the Bears. Road against the Broncos, road against the Bears, home against the Ravens and the Vikings. They do have a challenging, league. What? 5 games? Vikings, Lions, Bears, Bears is Vikings. 5 of their 7 games are against the division. And then the Ravens and the Broncos are no easy walk through the park. So they roughly do have themselves a shoot message for this. So their work is cut out for them. The 49ers are 7-4. Brock Purdy finally returns. Is it enough time to get this team over as he substitute Mac Jones? 49ers attack hit new heights all year. 49ers have hung around, through and through. Their defense should give them some confidence boosts in matchups here in upcoming weeks. I'm looking at the Panthers, going to be a fun one. Colts, interesting one. They may have another easier schedule coming through as they don't have the Rams. And the teams that they're facing, other than the Colts and the Seahawks, and I'm going to say the Panthers along this line, don't have winning records, or the Bears too, right? So I'm thinking that the 49ers are going to hang in there also. The Lions are currently on the outside looking in. That's going to be the battle, I think, first and foremost. Panthers are 6-5, as they got to deal with the Bucs in the South. Bryce Young can find a way to be steady under center. And then you got the Cowboys, who are 4-5-1. They're just kind of on that outside looking in. Man, this, I believe, what we're seeing here is a shape up of new teams. Broncos, Patriots, Colts have been a while. Jaguars has been a while. The Bears, I'm very, I'm pulling through for the Bears to come through. You see, not 1, not 2, but 3 NFC West teams representing in the right now. And it's really designed to make this a very intriguing next several weeks and some pretty big matchups as we head into this kind of final end of the season. I was kind of looking at this schedule. You have the Texans and Bills coming up Thursday Night Football tonight. Bills, they don't have room for errors anymore. Seahawks should be over Tennessee. I got the Patriots over the Bengals, Lions over the Giants, Ravens over the Jets. I'm going to see. I don't know the status of Aaron Rodgers. I'm claiming that the Bears are over the Steelers in this game, Packers over the Vikings, Chiefs. Or I'm going to say, unfortunately, the Chiefs could be over the Colts, which I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts come back and it's actually winning the game. Jaguars over the Cardinals. I got the we'll see Shadur Sanders for the first time. Well, not first time, but bounce back. See if he has a bounce back. I'm gonna say Browns over the Raiders, the Eagles over the Cowboys, the Falcons over the Saints, Rams over the Bucks, and 49ers over the Panthers on Monday Night Football. So a lot of great primetime games going up. Game of the week, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the Eagles-Cowboys game in the afternoon. And yeah, look, ultimately here, look, Bengals aren't playing well. They're practically out of, the postseason. They need a miracle. Okay, and let's not forget that Joe Flacco is dealing with a shoulder strain. So, are we gonna see a Joe what Joe are we gonna see? And even come down to this week, I still will argue that I don't want to see Joe Burrow out there unless we could win. And the exposure that we put on Joe for getting hurt and all this and that tells me that we're not gonna we do not want to see him this year. And that's going to be the argument. And I got that gut feeling. We'll see him play the rest of the year, thinking that we have this hope opportunity. Realistically, not. And it's going to be upsetting. But, I'm not the Bengals, right? I'm just here talking about football. And when our team's not doing well, I'm not sitting here trying to jump up and change teams or change dynamics. But there's only so much we can have conversations with. And when it comes down to Bengals football. So, there's some fair share in the conversations with the rest of the NFL, especially as the playoff picture presents itself. Well, that is all the time that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in wherever you guys are getting your audio platforms. And for more content, please check out our YouTube page by heading on over to our TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. You'll get all the updated news and stories coming on our channel and our podcasting schedules, as well as AI gaming content in the sports world. That is all the time I have. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.